Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com, here with some thoughts about the upcoming fights between Lucian Bute and Carl Froch in the super middleweight division. Right? One fight is supposed to be in one person's backyard, the other fight is supposed to be in the other person's backyard. Let's talk about it. But before we do, just remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. Now, I have the utmost respect for Carl Froch. In my opinion, he is a man. Any guy who goes out and takes on all comers like he has really does deserve a tip of the hat. He's fought Andre Ward. He now wants to fight Lucian Bute. Many would argue, myself included, that those are the two biggest names at 168 pounds. In addition, he's also fought Jean Pascal, who went on to win the light heavyweight title. He fought Arthur Abraham at a time when odds makers thought that that fight was up in the air, right? And of course, he came to America. He fought Jermaine Taylor in the United States. Simply put, he is one of those rare guys who deserve really the highest recognition for taking on all comers, right? He's a guy who, quite frankly, wants to fight the biggest guys. He was out campaigning to fight Joe Calzaghe. Even given the guys he's fought, Carl Froch is a guy who's always out there trying to take on the biggest challenge. Now, for that, he's certainly a fighter who I hold in very high regard. The problem is simply that I can't imagine worse matchups for Carl Froch than his last fight, Andre Ward, and his next opponent, Lucian Bute. If you look at the Ward tape, now we actually have tape of the fight, right? The fight's taking place. You're going to see that the most effective punch that Andre Ward landed in his fight against Carl Froch was probably a left hook, right? It was a counter hook. Andre Ward was able to time Froch. He was then able to leap in. He was then able to land that left hook with regularity. Well, Lucian Bute is left-handed. Lucian Bute's left is actually his dominant hand, right? Not only that, Bute, like Andre Ward, moves much better than Carl Froch and has the faster hand speed, right? And Bute brings another thing to the party that's going to be a problem for Froch, in that Bute is an absolutely devastating body puncher, right? Bute knows how to hang outside and then jump inside to counter you to the body. Take a look at the Libredo Andrade rematch. Take a look at Bute's destruction of Edison Miranda. Right? Now, Carl Froch, in my opinion, is best against fighters with less foot speed than Andre Ward or Lucian Bute, where he can come up to you, batter you with a jab, right? Then key off his jab and do a lot of other things. Froch actually has an excellent jab, right? Here's the problem. The Andre Wards and Lucian Butes of the world move so well that they could just move outside the range of that jab, right? I don't think Froch is going to be able to land too many jabs on Lucian Bute, right? Take a look at the Jean-Paul Mendy-Bute fight. Mendy has a pretty good jab. Bute was able to completely neutralize that jab. And let me just say, Bute is so fast that take a look at his defense. Tell me what's different between Bute's defense and Floyd Mayweather's defense, right? Bute drops his hands. He's in a Philly shell. He's outside. He's able to do that because he has very, very good athleticism. And let me point out too, Bute's toughest moment as a professional was the last round of his first fight against Libredo Andrade. Now, Andrade overwhelms you with volume, right? Fighting him is like running a marathon. You're always busy defending yourself, right? Bute got tired. Then, of course, Bute got knocked down in that last round. Here's the problem for Carl Froch. Carl Froch doesn't throw Libredo Andrade's type of volume, right? Not only that, Bute himself has lifted his game from that first Andrade fight to the point where he dominated Andrade in the rematch. Then he took on another high volume guy in Glenn Johnson after sparring extensively with Glenn Johnson before Glenn Johnson's earlier fight against Chad Dawson. And of course, Bute handled Glenn Johnson rather easily. So my point to you is simply this. Carl Froch doesn't have the heavy volume to bother Bute. That's one of the few ways you could bother Bute. Nor does Carl Froch have the hand speed or the style to give Bute a lot of problems. I think what we're going to see in this fight is Bute staying outside of Carl Froch's range, then coming inside with left hooks, right? And Bute hits hard. Look at his knockout ratio, right? Look how he has stopped guys, Brian McGee, with body shots, right? Bute's going to leap in, and Bute's going to find, in my opinion, that he can counter Carl Froch. Not only that, Bute is much more advanced, in my opinion, than Mikkel Kessler, another former Froch opponent who gave Froch all he could handle, right? Kessler, you can find in the ring. Guys like Bute and Andre Ward, you can't find because they're playing a Sergio Martinez type cat and mouse game, right? Bute might be right in front of you. He might be off at the side. He might be far away. Just finding Bute is a problem. Look at Bute's fight against Sakio Bika, right? Another aggressive hooker who, of course, had problems catching up with Bute. Now, I'm a skeptic on whether these guys fight twice because I believe that Bute is going to win the first fight by such a margin that I don't think Carl Froch is going to want the rematch, right? Let me also point out, too, that Carl Froch, who has a punch, always has a puncher's chance in his fights, even though Froch hasn't knocked out anybody lately, right? I'll give Carl Froch a puncher's chance, especially since Carl Froch throws a great uppercut from distance. But the way I'm structuring my recommendation is I think the most likely outcome is Lucian Bute wins the fight. I like Bute to win the fight, straddled against Froch by KO. What I don't see is Carl Froch winning a decision. I don't see Carl Froch being able to fight the fights that he fought against Arthur Abraham or that he fought against Mikkel Kessler, right? Or Glenn Johnson. I think what's going to happen here is Carl Froch is going to realize that he's in with a guy who's much more advanced. You don't know if Bute is coming or going. Also, Bute is cat quick, right? So what I'm expecting is Bute to then start leaping in with hard shots, right? I'll just put it this way. Both of these guys fought Brian McGee. Compare and contrast the fights, right? You'll actually see, in my opinion, that Bute showed a higher skill level than did Carl Froch. Both of these guys are highly skilled. It's just that I think Bute just does more in the ring and has a style, quite frankly, that's going to give the slower Carl Froch all kinds of problems. I think Bute wins this fight. The bet I'm recommending is Bute to win the fight, and he could do it by knockout. He could do it by knockout. Don't sleep on his punching power. It's Bute to win the fight, straddled against Carl Froch by KO. Let me also add this too. I know I'm going to hear about Carl Froch's legendary chin. Take a look at the knockdown in the Jermaine Taylor fight. That's not a slip. That's Carl Froch getting hit flush after having problems dealing with the jab. Now just imagine if Taylor were left-handed and a bit craftier, right? Using distance in the ring between the fighters, spacing, so that you don't even know if he's leading with a hook or a jab. You don't even know where he's going to be. He's faster, less formulaic, right? More fluid, can come in, can fake up top, hit you with the kind of body punches that floored Libredo Andrade in the rematch and Brian McGee, right? My point to you is simply, there's a way to get around a good chin, and it's by flush punches. Also, you know what Sam Langford used to say? Kill the body and the rest follows, right? You saw that in the Bernard Hopkins Oscar De La Hoya fight. You don't have to hit a guy on the chin to knock him out. And keep in mind, Bute is one of the premier body punchers in the entire sport. I like Bute in this one. I'll give Carl Froch a puncher's chance. I'll be surprised if Carl Froch even comes close to winning a decision, even with the scorecards in the Andre Ward fight looking closer than most people thought they would. Let me know what you think. Leave your comments for me here on YouTube. Visit us at gamblersadvisory.com. Thanks for watching.